I hope you're prepared for a breakthrough because you're about to pick up a framework for understanding and approaching music that can absolutely skyrocket your success. It's virtually guaranteed to make your progress faster and your whole career as a guitar player so much easier. Here it is. And I promise you, there's nothing special about me, but there's something very special about this framework and about this process you're about to pick up. Let this little box represent the universal goal held by all musicians. What is it? It's to play great music. That's really all we want. When we break it down and really think about it, you and I and every other guitarist and every other musician, really, we just want to play and write and make great music. However you define great. So how do we go about doing that? Well, there's 4 paths we can take when trying to reach this goal of playing great music. And the first path to approaching making great music is by learning music theory, taking a theoretical approach to great music. What is it that theory gives us that we wouldn't have otherwise? Well, really, the purpose of theory is it gives us the ability to think musical thoughts. And that's huge. Because when we're able to think musical thoughts, we can originate musical ideas. Imagine this. Imagine you were going to go to a foreign country where you didn't speak the language. To communicate, what you'd have to do is befriend someone who speaks that language and speaks English. And then what you would do is decide what you want to communicate and then ask your new friend how you would say that in this foreign language. Then your friend would tell you, you would learn it, that sentence, memorize it, and then go out in the world and repeat it. But if you wanted to speak and communicate an original idea, you would have to rely on trial and error. You would have to use everything you've learned up until this point, try to string it together and try. And some people will understand you through your broken attempt at speaking this language, but because you can't think in this language, you can't communicate original ideas well. You have to rely on trial and error and just copying other people. And it takes a long time. It means the process of learning and communicating is extremely long. It's the longest and hardest route to communicating. Because if you don't understand the grammar of a language, you can't communicate it well. And music theory, get this, is the grammar of music. When we understand music theories, we can think musicianly thoughts. And that's the power to originate ideas without all the excessive trial and error and without memorizing general rules of thumb and little shortcuts that work in limited circumstances, but not in all circumstances. Theory gives us the fundamental principles that allows us to become great musicians in a short amount of time. But is it the only path? No. It's a great one, but it's not the only one. Let's look at path 2. Path 2 to understanding great music is through sound. Now, chances are you or guitar players you know play purely just by ear. They're just ear-trained musicians. And that's great because every musical idea sounds a specific way. It's like, think about this. We could learn about spices in a spice cabinet. Someone could tell you the chemical compound of cinnamon or what oregano is grown and how it comes, how it's manufactured and dried and all that stuff. But until you actually get a sense of the smell and the taste of all the spices, you won't actually have an experience of it. You see, now every musical idea has a specific sound. So understanding the sound of every musical concept gives you the ability to comprehend it on that level, and it's huge. See, you can comprehend all musical ideas without understanding how they're thought about or how they're organized or how they're constructed. You don't absolutely have to have theory. I mean, it helps, obviously. It shortens the path. But sound really matters. You can't play anything you can't comprehend. And a lot of people don't train their ears deliberately. So the Theory gives you the intellect. The sound gives you the ear. Let's look at track number 3, or path number 3. That's notation. If theory is the intellect and sound is the ear, notation is the eye. It makes musical ideas visual. It's our ability to communicate through writing down music and reading music. So as guitarists, we have lots of different options. We have standard notation, we have tablature, we have chord diagrams, we have scale diagrams, we have the Nashville number system, we have figured bass notation. There's all different types of ways to communicate musical ideas. Um, and it really is the process of taking a musical idea and making it eye-friendly. Think about this. If you come up with a great musical idea and you want to share it with another musician, if you can't communicate through notation of some kind, you're limited in your ability to share this idea to whoever is in immediate physical contact with you. We could sit down and you could show me and I could pick it up by copying you. But let's say 100 years from now, people that aren't even born yet, how would you share the idea with them? Well, you can notate it somehow, and so that people can read music and they would get the same musical idea in their heads that you had in your head. And that's how we have access to all this great music from famous composers that have died a long time ago. It's because they notated their ideas. It's great. It's another path we need to playing great music. And the last path is through the instrument. If theory gives us musical ideas at an intellectual level, and sound gives us musical ideas through the ear, and notation through the eye, it's the instrument that gives us through the hand. It's our ability to actually physically create sounds. Now, we've chosen the guitar, but you could choose the voice, you could choose the recorder, you could choose harmonica, you could choose any instrument you want. But if you don't have all these paths, or you don't approach your universal goal of making and playing great music from all these paths, you become an unbalanced player. We all know musicians who play by ear and can just hear another, like a rhythm guitarist playing a rhythm, and then just improvise a solo. It's because they know their instrument well, they can comprehend some rhythm changes and stuff to a certain degree, and then they can play. And we know people who can sight read, and we know people who can't read music at all. And we know people who could talk all day about music theory and can blow your mind on an intellectual level, but when it comes to playing, they can't apply it. You see, we want to be balanced, well-rounded musicians, and learning every musical idea, whatever it is, from each of these paths systematically and deliberately will drastically shorten the learning curve and will drastically cut out all the necessary trial and error and all the frustration. You immediately jump on the fast track to learning the instrument, playing music, and reaching the goal of creating and playing great music. That's what we want. Think about this. Let's say you hear about this concept called a major scale. So you can take this path, theory. How is a major scale constructed? How is it derived? How can I construct it? That's the theory path. What does a major scale sound like? If someone were to play a major scale, could I recognize it? Could I comprehend it? Can I hear it in my head? Notation. Can I see a written out major scale and recognize it as a major scale? Can I see a key signature and music written out and say, oh, I know this is in the key of A major? Can I write it out and share this concept with someone else? Instrument. Can I play a major scale? Can I think more than just physical shapes, just one specific shape? Do I understand really what a major scale is and how to apply it anywhere on the instrument? You see, this gives us so much depth to every musical idea when we systematically approach the idea through each four path. Take it, learn it, use it. I hope you dig it as much as I do. As when I first came across this concept, it made a huge difference in my playing, my sheer passion for the instrument, because I was able to break out of blocks. I wasn't stuck anymore. Anytime I'd get stuck with some concept, I could take a new approach, and it started really freeing up my fingers and my mind and my ear, everything. It was great. Let me know what you think. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Talk to you soon. Bye.